Bava Batra, Daf 2b, top of the page with the word Nisyayesh Himeno Logadra. If the owner of the vineyard neglected to make the necessary repairs and did not properly build a partition between the fields, the grain and grapes are rendered forbidden due to the prohibition of diverse kinds planted in the vineyard, and he is liable for the monetary loss. He must compensate the owner of the grain for the damage suffered, as it is the vineyard owner's fault for that deriving benefit from the grain is not prohibited. According to the understanding that the term mechitza means a partition, one can infer the reason that they build a wall is that they both wished to make a partition in their jointly owned courtyard. But if they did not both wish to do so, the court does not obligate the reluctant partner to build such a wall. Although his neighbor objects to the fact that the partner can see what he is doing in this courtyard, apparently it may be concluded that damage caused by sight, that is, the discomfort suffered by someone because he is exposed to the gaze of others while he is in his own private domain, is not called damage. The Gemara objects to this conclusion, but say that the term mechitza used in the Mishnah means a division, as it is written, and the division, mechsas, the congregation, was Numbers 31:43, referring to the half of the spoil that belonged to the entire congregation. According to this interpretation, the Mishnah means, since they wish to divide the jointly owned courtyard, they build a proper wall in the center, even against the will of one of the partners. Apparently, it may be concluded that damage caused by sight is called damage. The Gemara rejects this line of reasoning. If it is so that the term mechitza means a division, the words "who wish to make a division" are imprecise, as the Chadash should have said "who wish to divide." Rather, what is the meaning of the term mechitza? A partition. The Gemara retorts, if so, the words "they build the wall" are precise, as the Chadash should have said "they build it," since the wall had the partition and the partition are one and the same. The Gemara responds, had the Tana taught they build it, I would say that a mere partition of pegs would suffice. He therefore teaches that they build an actual wall, all in accordance with the regional custom. The Mishnah teaches partners who wished to make a partition in a jointly owned courtyard build a wall for the partition in the middle of the courtyard. The Gemara asks, isn't it obvious that if they agree to build a wall, if it should be built in the middle, why should one of them contribute more than the other? The Gemara answers, no, tzricha was necessary. Says halacha, where one of the partners went ahead and convinced the other that they should build a partition, unless you say that the second can later say the first when the latter comes to begin construction. When I was persuaded by you to build a partition, it was regard to the airspace. I agreed to the erection of a minimal barrier that would result in a loss of open space in the courtyard. But I was not persuaded by you with regard to the use of the courtyard. I did not agree to forfeit any usable space on the ground in my share of the courtyard for the building of a wall. To counter this, the Mishnah teaches that since they agreed to make a partition, they must each contribute a part of the courtyard for the building of the wall. After having determined that the wording of the Mishnah is unproblematic only if the term means a wall, it follows that damage caused by sight is not called damage. The Gemara asks, as damage caused by sight in fact not called damage? The Gemara provides mnemonic for the proofs which follow that challenge this assumption. Garden, wall, compels, and they divide windows as Rav Nachman. So it's Simon's Gina, Kosel, Kofin, Cholkin, Chalonis, and then Derab Nachman. Okay. Tashima, the Gemara suggests coming here that which the Mishnah teaches, and similarly with regard to the garden. in a place where it is customary to build a partition in the middle of a garden jointly owned by two people, and one of them wishes to build such a partition, the court obligates his neighbor to join in building the partition. This indicates that invading one's property by looking at him while he is in his private domain is called damage. The Gemara answers the garden is different with regard to the halacha governing invasion of property, as accordance with the statement of Rabbi Abba says that Rav Huna says that Rav says it is prohibited for a person to stand in another's field and look at his crop while the grain is standing, because he casts an evil eye upon it and thereby causes him damage. And some of the true is true for the garden. Since the issue is, in this case, is damage resulting in the evil eye, no proof can be brought with regard to the matter of damage caused by sight.